Welcome back, everybody. We are out here, got the kayak ready. We're gonna run down this road here and get to fishing. Very excited, super early today, but didn't want to sleep in. It's just too nice of a day. Wind's gonna pick up dramatically around noon, so we've got like 4 hours to fish. So largemouth bass today in the kayak. Let's go. It's never fun dragging this thing, but the rewards can be great. This place has lots of awesome fishing here, so we'll be over at the lake shortly. We'll see you on the water. Here we go. Absolutely beautiful out. Calm before the storm. Like I said, the wind's gonna pick up a lot today. A little bit chilly this morning. They got a decent amount of rain last night between like 8 and 11, maybe midnight. But 58 degrees when I got here this morning, so it is a little bit cooler. Conditions have been like mid 70s, low 80s in the past week, so the water's been warming up nicely. But with that rain, you just don't know how it's going to affect it. Usually this place can continue to, sustain a nice bite even after the rain, but we'll see. I think we'll find some fish before the end of the day. I've got a few different lures I want to try, starting with the weedless swim bait, which usually does well when the weeds are pretty bad. And although they look bad, they're not as bad as they typically are. So I don't know if the rains push the weeds back down a little bit, or maybe the DNRs come in here and they've done a little bit of like a kill of the weeds. We'll see. I've got a couple hours to fish, like I said. By midday today, the wind's supposed to get pretty bad, and by late afternoon, early afternoon, like 4 or 5, it could be up to like 18-20 mile an hour winds. So we're gonna enjoy the morning while we can. Nice calm winds, about 6 mile an hour right now. Have some fun, throw around some lures, and hopefully stick some fish. First one is on. Finally. Now, I think the rain's really turned these fish off quite a bit. It feels like a good one too. Oh yeah. Here we go. That's an awesome fish. That's a good 2-pounder for sure. So the fishing in here is way slower than I had ever expected. But that rain, it's really no surprise. First one is down. Awesome largemouth bass. And I think we'll get a handful of them today, Hopefully we catch more than just this one, but very thankful to have gotten this guy. Pretty fish. He's peeing all over me. Oh my goodness. There you have him. Very pretty fish. And we're gonna release him. Cool. Back to the depths. Been here for about 20 minutes, so this place is usually really good. I mean, in 20 minutes you can catch 3 or 4 most of the time. So, one down. Good. The wind's already started to pick up a little bit. We're probably up to like 7-8 mile an hour now. Getting a little bit of gusts coming through. You can hear the leaves finally starting to, move around some, but one fish down. That's awesome. And I'm glad I brought a sweatshirt because I'm starting to freeze to death. So you may see me with my hood up in a little bit. Okay. White swim bait. I believe this is just a little Kayak. It's actually a pretty old lure. I've had these probably since I was in college. I bought a whole handful of them back then, and I've just been throwing them around every so often, and I love them. They work excellent. I'm wondering if I may need to switch to something like a lipless crankbait, just because I think it's going to agitate the water a little bit more. But with all these weeds, I'm kind of concerned that I'll spend more time picking weeds off my lures than I will actually fishing. So over here, we'll probably stick with the swim bait for a little bit. But when we go back to the other side where it's a little more open, a little more depth to the lake, we may try that lipless. With all the wind and everything, it's going to be hard to do much finesse fishing today, so we're probably going to have to throw some of the moving baits. And typically when it is windy like this and you've got some movement, they like moving baits a little bit better too. Love them, but I hate them. I think with a bait caster you can probably get 2 to 3 times as many cast out as you can with an open-faced reel. But every now and then you do mess up and you get a pretty nasty backlash. It's unfortunate, but the benefits still outweigh the cons of these things. That was also 100% preventable if I would have been paying better attention to the back of my boat. Sometimes I forget there's a rod back there. Thank goodness I don't have 2 of them, or I'd probably have twice as many snags back there. Ooh, nice little nibble there. I'm hoping he didn't get the tail or anything. It was definitely a slower bite, but it was a hit, which is kind of weird because it's a little bit more in the open water, so maybe these fish are not where I'm thinking they are. We'll see if we can put together a pattern today, but so far it's kind of a couple different random bites. Dang it. Another good hit there. I think these fish are way slower than I had ever expected them to be. He grabbed it, ran with it for a second, finally set the hook thinking he might still be on there, and he pulled it. Do I have one or not? I have no idea. It's so hard to tell. My line got wrapped around something. I don't think there's a fish on there. Is there? Oh, there is a fish in there. Huh. I didn't think I had him. Second one. Big ends only, guys. Just big boys. Good 12-incher. But that thing looks like he's got the genetics to be like a 5-6 pounder in a couple years. Thick shoulders on him. Nice bass. We're starting to figure it out a little bit. And by figure it out, I mean it's completely random, but we're at least catching some. That's pretty cool. Number 2 had like 4 or 5 different bites now. We're making it happen. And I'll apologize now for any wind noise, but like I said, it's gonna get nasty today, so we're trying to enjoy what we can while we can. It's coming. It's coming in quick. This way's not too bad. You can kind of just float through, but I know on the way back I'm gonna have to paddle triple extra hard to get back, so not looking forward to that by any means. Also, this kayak just refuses to go one direction. Just 360s and who knows. Just won't go straight for nothing. Just tied on the chatterbait. So what we're gonna do is bounce between the chatterbait and the weedless swim bait. And the reason I went with the chatterbait over the lipless, like I think I was originally talking about, was just because the lipless is gonna have so much better chance of hooking into a lot of weeds, where this chatterbait you might be able to cut through some of them with that big blade on the front of it. That feels like a good one. I think I'm wrapped up in a stick though. I love the chatterbait. It's probably my second to that lipless swim bait, or lipless crankbait. Holy cow. We may not be getting a ton of fish today, but first one and then this one. Nice size fish. Look at this. That's a hog. Guys, this is a pretty big fish. 2.5, I'm guessing, minimum. And maybe they're in here spawning. I don't know. Keep hooking these monstrosities of largemouth though. You're ready to go. I love it. I love to watch them go. I love to watch them grow. I wish they were a little more photogenic and easier for me to take pictures, but once you put them horizontal, they're so ready to get back in that water. So another one down, first one on the chatterbait. Hopefully this is the key today. We're gonna keep tossing it around. Sometimes that's the way it is. You throw the swim bait because there's weeds, but You're just gonna have to work through a lot of those weeds with something like this because they want a little more vibration, a little more action. But that is an incredible fish we got right there. So very, very cool. Keep fishing, see if we can find some more stuff. We're kind of out in the middle here. This is like a flat section of the lake. It's probably like 4 feet at the deepest, and it's maybe like 5 acres or something like that. Maybe less, 3-4 acres, something like that, of just pretty shallow water that can be pretty incredible for these fish. Perfect spawning spot, perfect coming up on their beds. So that's why I think a lot of these fish are in here right now. Well, that was a quick bite. As soon as it hit the water, I must have dumped it on his head. Come on, get those last couple jumps out. There we go, baby. Another big fatty. Not nearly as big as the last couple, but cool fish here. Thick one. They're all like really healthy, thick fish. Great belly on them. I mean, you can see how lively he is. They're just not super long and, you know, not fully grown yet, but they are thick for their size. Cool. Another one down on the old chatter. Good stuff. I'm loving this chatterbait. I'm not sure if this is the same fish or not, but hit right there at the edge of the boat. Nope, it's a different one. The last one had a lip piercing right in the top and a little blood there. And this is a completely separate fish. Another one down. This is insane. Fishing's getting better. A lot of the times this lake, you have to come and you have to put it together, like all lakes, obviously. But once you figure them out, so I think I figured out that they want the chatterbait today. It can usually be, and I don't want to jinx myself, lights out. Although we had a slow start, we're starting to pick them up. Starting to pick them, piecing it together is what I'm trying to say. And it's getting good. Another one down. You probably won't get to see every fish catch today. Just sometimes once you get out here, you can start to really put it together, and it's hard to do that. I don't want the video to be like 10 hours long, but chatterbait's working. Every now and then I'll get a quick glimpse through the clouds, and it looks absolutely gorgeous up there above the clouds. But down here, it's a little gloomy. The sun's trying to poke out, just hasn't made it yet. Well, guys, we've been able to put together a little bit of a bite here. Chatterbait for the win, yet again. So, we're gonna keep fishing the chatterbait for a little bit, see if we can do anything else. There is one section on the other side of the lake I'm contemplating a frog on, but I haven't heard any topwater hits yet today, so we may have to pass on that this trip. Otherwise, if we get into too much weeds, we'll go back to the swim bait, but we are starting to find some fish and having some fun out here. The wind's starting to pick up just a hair, but we still got a few more hours to go. So I've been out here for about an hour now, so maybe 1 to 2 more hours before the wind really gets nasty. We're just gonna have to play it by ear. You know, sometimes the weatherman's wrong, sometimes he's right, and sometimes the storms come just before you think, or even later. So you just don't know, but I'm just glad to be out here catching some fish. It was tough this morning, but like I said, we're starting to figure them out and get a rhythm going. We're gonna get back in there now. As you can hear, the wind's picking up some, so no time to waste. Let's go. Well, that was weird. I was trying to flip some weeds off, and I think in between one of my jerks on the bait, he hit it. Wasn't a snag. All the way in the mouth, kind of weird. And he buried it deep because it must have been during that pause. But another one. That's pretty awesome. I was hoping they'd be a little more shallow today. Back in this shallow flat here, they're only on the edge of it, it seems like. Deep in the heart of it, where it's like 1 to 2 feet. Nothing. So maybe they've already spawned. I'm not really sure, but we did get a couple out of there on the edges, at least, where it starts to drop off. But keep fishing. See what else we can find. The chatterbait is still incredible, and another thing I like for the backside of it there is it's like a smaller fluke. I like it better than a swim bait tail, just because the swim baits, the tails get ripped off all the time. The fluke, I mean, what have I caught now? 5, 6, 7 on this thing, and no problems, plus the prior fish I caught on it too. There are some days you'll go through quite a few of them, but the flukes have pretty good action, and they get bites, and they really don't rip that bad. Got one on that cast though. Again, right on to the right side there is a big bowl, and to the left side is that flat, and they're sitting right on that edge. Nice long fish. Not as fat as the last couple, but pretty neat. Lots of weeds over here, so we're gonna switch back real quick to the swim bait. We're gonna see if we can get like a topwater bite on a swim bait, and if that's the case, then we may have to switch over to a frog. So we're gonna work some of the open areas that you can do a swim bait okay. And then there's a lot of cheese over here on the right that's pretty thick. We're just gonna toss in there and see what happens. If we get a couple bites or so, we may switch to that frog. Oh yeah, I think it's time to switch to a frog. It only took one cast and I got 2 bites. Not bad at all. Okay, we've got the frog tied on. We're gonna see if we can make something happen with it. We're in some nasty stuff right now. No can do. 0 for 1. That's the problem with this frog fishing stuff. There we go. Is that you're gonna get a lot and you're gonna miss a lot. Was that second cast with a frog and we made it happen? Maybe they were all in here the whole time, I don't know. Okay, buddy, you just absolutely soaked me. Frog fishing, so fun and so cool. Another one, right out of that cheese, the grossness. It's pretty insane back here. Pretty nasty, nasty, nasty. Little nibble there, but unfortunately, the weeds are just too thick. Put it right in the same spot. We'll see if we'll come back. There's definitely good fish in here. I don't think the surface is like really, really thick, but right below it, I think is a little more open. So I think there's fish right under there. There we go, baby. We're on. I knew we were going to get one more big jump out of her. And that right there is an insane fish. Very cool one. Check out that hog. That's a big bass. Pretty neat. Such a fun fight. Frog fishing is so cool, and it really just, it doesn't get any better than that. So we're going to go ahead and release that thing. And yeah. Awesome. I can't emphasize it enough. But when it's thick, it's thick. And I mean, today it's pretty crazy. I was thinking there was a little more open area underneath some of these weeds, but now that I've pulled some grass out of here, I think it's even worse than I expected originally. Okay, I think the frog is going to get retired for right now. We're going to go back out to the main lake. Unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with the wind. I know I was trying to avoid it, but the frog bite is kind of slow, and I just like covering more ground. So although I could probably catch just as many in here as I can out on the main lake, I like to fish moving baits a lot more than a really, really slow frog. So let's go. Let's see if we can get any more on the old chatterbait. This thing was working excellent this morning, a little bit earlier. You just don't know. There's one. Yeah, baby. I actually think there was a second one following this guy for a little bit, trying to steal the bait out of his mouth. That's kind of neat. Finally back on him. Took about 20 minutes to find some more fish. We're about to wrap up. The wind is picking up some more. It just continues to get worse, but give it 5-10 more minutes, and then we're gonna head out. This is kind of the last spot I was hoping to fish. There's like a little island out here, and then all the way around the island is some pretty shallow water. And sometimes these bass will move up shallow to spawn on here. And although we're kind of past, you know, some of that spawning action, you just don't know. There may still be a few on beds. So that's just kind of what we're looking for here. There's one. The first time I came through here with the weedless swim bait, and I had no action, so feels good to be back on a couple of them there. God, short, fat, stocky fish. Just engulfing that entire swim or chatterbait. Vibrating jig. Pretty dang neat there. Beautiful fish. Another one. I'm gonna have to get a new skirt for this thing. It's starting to look a little sad. It's missing like most of the color in the front of it, but it's still working. Hopefully the sun will help clean some of this water up. The wind will calm down, and then by next week this lake will be back to prime. The right temperature, right clarity. It's just a little off today with some of that rain. Just because it's off a little doesn't mean the fish won't bite. It's just fishing different than normal. Okay, as I pulled it through the weeds, he come back and nailed it. It's so strange, like I'm just trying to rip weeds off of there, and then right when you pop it out, boom, he snags it. Right in the mouth too. Hallelujah. Okay, you're ripping my thumb to shreds there, buddy. We got us another one. Very pretty fish. Probably 16 so inches. 16-ish around there. Nice. Really hope you guys enjoyed that video. Super fun to come out here and make it, and unfortunately the weeds are picking up a little bit, but you know, with the rain, the weeds, just some of the wind, the conditions aren't normal. I don't want to say they're bad, because we did really well today. We caught, I don't know, 10 or 15 at least. I didn't really keep count, although I probably should have. It was an exciting time out here as always. Love kayak fishing. My boat is down and out for a little bit right now. We're getting it, you know, situated. Had some water pump issues. Now I've got a trolling motor battery I think's wrong, so we're getting a new trolling motor battery. I think it's been bad. It's like 5 years old, so it's definitely time for a new one. Waiting on that to come in, and without that I don't really have a way to get around. So as soon as I get that, we'll be back in the regular boat. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little kayak session. So much fun to come out here and make it and just enjoy the great outdoors. Got up at 5 to be here in time. People are starting to show up now, and that's when I'm gonna head out. So hopefully they catch some fish today, but you know, it was a good day all around. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.